Welcome back to the Game of Muscle YouTube channel. It's time for a Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 Vision update. What's going on? Let's find out. As many of you know, last month we had a chance to play the new Microsoft Flight Simulator, and indeed it was very spectacular. But since then, there's been updates, there's been developments, there's been news, and it's all very exciting indeed. So the first thing to say is sign up to the Insider program right away. I think it finishes on the 15th, the initial access to it, and then they'll close it off for a bit, and you'll be able to sign up at a later date. But if you want to try and get into the super early tech alpha process and give feedback to Microsoft and potentially play the game early, click the link in the description so you can get into that. Which leads me to my first point, and one of the really promising things with Microsoft Flight Simulator, and this is one of the things I found whilst talking to the developers when I got to meet up with them, is just how receptive the developers are to feedback with this simulator. They're genuinely looking for feedback to actually implement into the new Flight Simulator, which is absolutely fantastic, because with simulators it's kind of an ongoing process. Building a simulator is a phenomenal amount of work that's never ending, and so you really need a developer that not only gets things themselves, but they're prepared to listen to the community and the people playing the game to sort of sift through the infinite list of features to pick the features that the community wants to get implemented first. And as an example of them responding to the community shouting at the developers, a big feature that the developer was seemingly unaware of with their development is virtual reality. Now, guys that follow this channel, you know I'm really weirdly obsessed with VR, and so most of you probably following this channel are probably weirdly obsessed with VR, and it was kind of mind-blowing that VR wasn't really a priority with the new Microsoft Flight Simulator. But after everybody screamed at them, they've just come back with a quote saying the following: "We will try our darndest to make VR support happen," which to me sounds really good. Now, obviously, I think the priority for the developer, and this is the feedback I got when I talked to them about this, is it's early days. They're still in the pre-alpha phase. They have to get the core underlying game to actually run at a good frame rate and good performance and fully optimized. It's something that happens through the process of a game, but you know, decisions also get made before launch as to what extent things need to be cut down by, depending on the current hardware on the market and how things actually happen to run with the end result of all the features that are in the final build of the game. In short, my take back is that they're now aware that VR is something a lot of people want. I mean, it's obviously a feature in X-Plane 11, DCS, and Sim fans are normally fans of VR as well, so they're aware of that. But personally, I would not expect VR to be in the launch of this title. I would say probably even 6 months to a year after the launch is probably when something like VR would get implemented into the new Microsoft Flight Sim. So those of you that have thrown your screens in the bin, you're going to have to wait, or just play DCS, X-Plane 11, or the other sims that have VR in it. The main thing is, though, as I say, the developer genuinely seems responsive to the feedback, hence the Insider program, and their pretty quick response to the feedback that people want VR. Obviously, the time to get that into the sim is another thing, but we'll see. But no VR, no buy. I can hear people shouting it already in the comments. Okay, moving on from the VR. A lot of people were asking me the question: what gameplay does this have in it? Will it have gameplay in it? When I was playing it at the press event that they did, it was just a case of you could pick airports and fly from them. You could fly around the whole world. The whole world was there. The procedural engine was there. It looked amazing. It looked absolutely mind-boggling, and the physics and everything were fantastic. But there were no missions as such in there. So, and that was a sort of open question. I tried to ask the developers about it, and they were kind of a bit cagey. They're like, "Oh, wait and see what we have in store." Well, I don't have any details on specific missions, but if you go to the Acebo Studios website, you will see that they're recruiting a ton of new staff, so they're going full bore here, but specifically they have a job role for a mission designer, specifically mission designer flight simulator. We are looking for several passionate mission designers to join the Microsoft Flight Simulator team. So, I mean, obviously, well, there's going to be bloody missions in it if they're employing mission designers. The real question, of course, will be what type of missions will it have? Will it be really dull things of, oh, go from this location to that location, World of Warcraft style, which personally makes me want to put my head in a microwave? Or will they be really interesting missions like, oh, the right engine's got a fault and you have to decide which airport to land at? Or maybe bird strike at takeoff and you have to land in the Hudson, reenact various real-world situations. Or, you know, or maybe you have to pick up some packages from Mexico and bring them to America whilst staying below the radar. I actually suggested that as an idea, the drug smuggling missions, but the designer, lead designer, didn't appreciate it. I don't think Microsoft really want that image associated with them. But I thought it was a good idea. I think people want to play that. But that's just me. This is why I can't work in the games industry. But yeah, I really do get the impression, they haven't told me anything directly, but I really get the impression there's going to be a good mix of missions in this. And also, if you played the Microsoft Flight Simulator X back in 1812, back in 2006 or so when that came out, that had a whole bunch of missions and objectives in it that I think really eased people into flying, introduced them into many aspects of actually flying a plane for real. And this sim is very much a continuation of the original Microsoft Flight Simulator games, so it makes sense for it to have those kind of missions in it, though I hope they do something more and maybe a bit more creative as well. It's worth saying, actually, whilst I was fiddling with the software, I did notice there was a whole bunch of stuff in there that really sort of suggests they will have very in-depth tutorials telling you how to actually operate the planes, but giving you the choice to what extent you go into the depth of the plane. So the developers were very clear in explaining that all the buttons and dials and knobs work in the aircraft that are there. They've gone full-blown simulation with all the actual gadgets and widgets. And they also said that the co-pilot in the you have the option of a co-pilot. They will potentially control aspects of the plane for you depending on the difficulty mode you set, but also there's text displayed over options explaining what they do in the aircraft. So you can basically do that whole cold start thing, but it's explained. You don't have to go and watch a YouTube video such as with DCS to learn how to start the A10 Warthog. It's all sort of, it looks like it'll all be integrated into the game. That's the impression I get. But yeah, it's just going to be really interesting to see to what extent they make this simulator appeal to both people that have never played a sim before and appeal to the hardcore players, and then appeal to the players in between, such as myself, that love the experience, love simulation, but I'm not a pilot. So from what I've seen so far, I'm really optimistic. It looks really good, and missions confirmed by the job roles on the website. So that's nice. That's good to know. And then finally, on the 10th of October, if you haven't seen it, the Flight Simulator team released a video called Feature Discovery Series. If you type in Microsoft Flight Simulator Feature Discovery Series on YouTube, you can watch the video on YouTube. It's also on the Insider Home website. I don't think it's a private thing because it's all over the internet, so I'm just going to tell you guys about it anyway. But watch that video. It's really interesting, with it giving you a really good overview of the graphical engine and how it sort of operates at a basic level. I mean, to be honest, if they were going to explain things properly, it would probably be a 300-hour video and you would have to be a graphical programmer, which I'm not and I don't have time for. But the biggest takeaways from it are the fact that the game will be, you'll have the entire world available in a offline mode. Of course, that'll be the lowest detail available, but in theory you could play the whole game and fly visual flight rules, VFR, so that's a low level flying, and still be able to tell where you're going with the offline mode, which is pretty cool. And then of course, because there's 2 petabytes of high detailed data they've got, and you can't slap that on a disk or install it to a computer. They will be streaming that data to you as you play. If you've got a fast internet connection, you will have the highest quality of data. If you've got a 56k modem, then you can cry because you'll have low quality data, but it would in theory be better than the no internet basic data package that's in the game. Now, they also in the video say that there'll be the option to pre-download chunks or locations and basically cache them to your computer. So if you've got an internet connection, you can then download it and then you'll be able to play at the really high detail level offline in the future. Or if you always fly the same kind of locations, they'll be cached and you don't have to keep downloading them. So that's really cool. Just watch the video. It goes into more detail. The most important thing in the video, though, that really got me excited and that I hadn't really paid attention to, and I can't believe I missed it, is the fact that they have confirmed, oh my god, they have confirmed that Microsoft Flight Simulator will contain individual blades of grass. 10 out of 10, best simulator ever made. I don't know any other simulator that will procedurally generate individual blades of grass at different times of day, different weather. I mean, they better include a lawnmower. I guess that's what the propeller on the front of the plane's for, when you land a bit too quickly. So, lawn mowing simulation confirmed. Unbelievable. Watch the video, guys. It's the latest update video they've got. They're going to be releasing more update videos as things progress, so that'll keep you on date. But I'll keep shouting at you guys with our videos, letting you know what's happening, what's changed, and what's going on. So there you go. I mean, that's the 2020 vision on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 at this point in time. If you enjoyed this video, you found it useful, and you enjoy the babbling of a British tea drinker, then you can indeed click that like button and also subscribe. So until the next one, guys, thanks for watching this, happy tea drinking, and goodbye.